9 o'clock, and so I'm probably gonna play like a day of Coral Island and then
Wow.
call it a night.
No.
My little Lucas, I love him. My
I love
baby
him.
boy. My sweet baby boy.
Sweet summer child.
All right. We got some bananas. Um, okay. So going back to our discussion of Frankenstein though.
Yeah.
I do also there is another element that I would love to talk about, which is
Mm.
the full title of the book written by Mary Shelley is Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
And it, so if I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the story of Prometheus, but anyone who isn't, right? Prometheus was a titan who gave humans fire and thereby extension like civilization and like, technology and whatnot. Um and so I'm I'm trying to kind of like find that comparison of Victor Frankenstein as Prometheus
Yeah.
because like yes, I can see that in the like he created the creature, he like gave him life and stuff. But Prometheus typically is portrayed as a very kind, like caring um titan. Like he cares about humanity. And clearly that's something that Victor Frankenstein lacks.
Mm.
So like I don't, unless I mean obviously our understanding of the character of Prometheus could have shifted since this book. When was this book written?
Frankenstein. Let's see. 1818 was originally published.
Okay. So it's been over 200 years since this book was published. So like it is entirely possible that the story and character of Prometheus has shifted in those 200 years. But like I don't know. I don't see.
Yeah, so I looked up Prometheus because I was like, we know the kind of just like you said, like the whole giving fire and therefore civilization.
Mm-hmm.
But like the whole idea, like the whole thing is like he steals the fire, right? And then he gives it and he's punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
In some myths, he's credited with the creation of humanity from clay.
Right.
So like the creation of the monster itself, that could be kind of like a tie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the punishment of Prometheus for stealing the fire. So he was condemned to eternal torment for his transgressions, and like I think like that sentence right there kind of can symbolize like what he went through, like right, like he did this one thing, and then he was after that point punished for what he did.
Yeah.
Which was something that like he was told he shouldn't do, right? And he was like mocked for it, whatever.
That's
so fair. Right. So there's also according to the wiki, again, look at this, the internet never lies, right?
The internet never lies.
Yeah, so in the Western classical tradition, so like, going back to like you said, like maybe the definition has changed, and in like obviously in myths, like myths are always different, right? Like they have different iterations. So in the Western classical tradition, Prometheus became a figure who represented humanity's striving, particularly the quest for scientific knowledge and the risk of overreaching or unintended consequences.
Okay.
So, in particular, he was regarded in the Romantic era as embodying the lone genius whose efforts to improve human existence could result in tragedy. And then Mary Shelley, for instance, gave The Modern Prometheus as a subtitle to the novel
Okay.
Frankenstein.
I can see that. That makes sense. I never would have got there on my own, but yeah.
Yeah, right. I would have made the connection of like the whole being punished,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
punishment for what you did, like that was the connection that I would have made originally. Like I wouldn't have
Mhm.
really given this whole, lone genius whose effort to improve like existence
Especially because I think
result in
for
tragedy.
me, like typically when I think of Prometheus, he is a very sympathetic character,
Hmm.
right? Like he was trying to help humanity
Yeah.
and was punished for it.
Hmm.
Whereas to me, Victor Frankenstein is in no way a sympathetic character. He made a
Yeah.
stupid choice and has to live with the consequences.
Yeah. But I guess you can kind of like give that argument to Prometheus' story, right? Like it was a dumb decision to steal from the gods,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
true.
like, so that argument can be made, but like I don't think that Victor is not, he doesn't care about other people. He only cared about his own
Mm-hmm.
like search for like knowledge or like prove
Yeah.
his intelligence or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not Prometheus. Like Prometheus wanted to do better
Wanted to help them.
wanted to help them, not wanted them to be better, right? Wanted to like have let them have a better life and stuff, right? So it's like he didn't really do it for those reasons. Like he wasn't doing it to,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't even just like, oh, I'm gonna prove that I can do this and it'll help a lot of people. It's like, no, I'm
Right.
gonna prove that I can do this and just say that I can,
Yeah.
just to prove you wrong.
And okay, so sort of kind of tying in with our like previous discussion about like how we teach these like skills of literary like analysis, I
Hmm.
do think it's very interesting. Like, so we are tying Frankenstein as a character to Prometheus as a character in the sense of he was so worried about if he could do something that he didn't stop to think about the consequences. And
Hmm.
so then taking that, we can go back to again Jurassic Park. They were so worried about could they bring dinosaurs back, they didn't stop to think about the consequences of their actions. So clearly, the logical progression of this is that ninth graders should not be reading Frankenstein. They should instead be watching Jurassic Park.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I'm so glad we could put a great little bow on
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's true though. But also, I will say, I understand the argument. I understand the repercussions. If that was real life, I would be at Jurassic Park.
Okay, I get it, but also, no, you wouldn't.
I would
Because
absolutely
I
be by those
wouldn't let you go.
I'd be by those dinosaurs. I would eat
You would be
glass,
like,
brother.
hey,
I
there's a park where they brought dinosaurs back to life.
yeah.
Let's
Mhm.
go check it out. And I would
Yeah.
say, the fuck we are. You will die.
It's okay. I'll take Kameko with me. We'll go.
You really think Haywire's letting Kameko go?
Mm.
Kameko would not survive a trip without Haywire also.
I feel that like the both of us could do it. We could do it.
Okay,
I'm just
I
saying.
believe you.
Do it. Okay.
But again, like, I mean, and I do think that it raises an interesting point. I feel like all
Well, what's that?
stories. What?
What's in there?
There's a
In the
fish.
fish.
He will give me a prize when I free him.
Okay.
Um, like I don't. I've definitely seen before things that are like all stories are other stories. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's not really original material now because all stories have been told, and new stories now are just variations of old stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I do think that there is some truth to that, right? Like we've said, I mean, Frankenstein is Prometheus is um Dr. Whoever in fucking Jurassic Park.
Oh, this is what you received. Nice.
What did you receive?
A queen scallop.
Oh, yeah.
You received.
I
didn't
received a
receive
queen
anything.
scallop.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't get shit.
Did this Sorry, did
I'm not
that
playing.
open this thing down here? Because I'm pretty sure that's the way I need to go. It did. Look at that. I don't know if this will get me
But
anywhere.
yeah, going like on that topic of like stories are just like, yeah, like they're the same, but I think like, going back to what we were talking about, like diversity and inclusion, is like the experiences tell it differently, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it may be the same kind of concept, but like you can always have something different. But I also think that like that is the argument that like is constantly being made, because on a like larger scale of like companies and things like that, like we don't value that.
Yeah.
Like we don't care about that because it is the minority, right? Like we're racist or homophobic or whatever, and it's like we don't we don't put in the effort to hear those stories or those
Mm-hmm.
versions of the stories and of those people's experiences, and therefore then it's just like, and then it's just the same like repeated shit over and over again, and then people complain about it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
there's only and like, there's only so much that you can like there's only so many ways that you can tell something,
Yeah.
or like so many like things aren't original anymore. Like that's just, you can tell it in a different way and that makes it original. But like the core of something is like it's the
Yeah.
core of something for a reason. Like that's just the base, right? And I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just
No, I think you're definitely right. Like we there's only so many there's only so many stories that can be told, but there are infinite versions of those stories that can be told.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I
like
think mhm,
when we lack diversity, that's when we don't get all of those versions.
yeah. Of course it'd be like that first fucking rock.
Yeah. I hate it here.
Um Fuck, I forgot my thought again.
Hate it here.
Yeah, hate it. But yeah, I don't know. I always like think about like that whole thing that happened with hold on. Hey,
What's he doing?
licking his paws, being bad.
Baby.
Um but like that whole thing with like Kate Crane and like that whole
Oh,
discourse that happened
yes.
about the book. And I don't know if this one was hers or like if this one was someone else's, but like one of the character, like, and in one of the books that she had like reviewed, one of the characters had like sun powers or whatever, or she was a
Hmm.
demigod or some shit like that. And another author was like, "You're stealing my idea," and it's like, you can't, like, you have no ownership of that.
Yeah.
Like, you have ownership of your own story, but the fact that there's a demigod or like somebody that has these specific powers, like,
Yeah. You don't
you don't own.
own that concept. Like,
Yeah, like that's not. I'm like, it's wild to me that people like get hung up on that.
yeah.
Like if somebody's stealing your work word for word or like art for art, like
Yeah, yeah.
tracing and shit. Like unless somebody is doing that, like you have no guarantee that like,
Or putting your art, feeding your art into AI. Fuck AI.
oh my god, fuck AI.
We will die on that hill here.
Yeah, no, that is fuck AI. It's not happening. Mhm.
Yeah, no, like I also like all of that stuff that happened with Kate Crane is absolutely wild, and I it's insane. Like, why would
Yeah.
you think that's okay to do? And then
Yeah,
like
yeah, and like that's like the her whole like thing was that like, oh, I felt like intimidated by these like other authors,
mhm.
aka people of color,
Yeah.
writing these, and it's like, like, dude, that's your own fucking racist ass like shit. Like, go work on
Yeah.
that shit somewhere. Like, no, that's not okay, and that's not a fucking excuse.
Mhm.
And like, and you, at that point, she is perpetuating that kind of stereotype of like, we don't want that diversity.
Mhm.
We don't want those stories being told by people of color. We want, and it's like, it's just fucked up.
Yeah. Well, this might have to be the end of my diving
Why?
journey
What
today.
happened?
I'm out of stamina and I don't really have anything.
Oh no. It's only 4 p.m. in game.
It's okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop diving to clean the ocean and we're going to go visit the mermaids
Oh hell yeah.
because I love them. And
Yeah.
I will be romancing Denali
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I can get to their city with a
Oh yeah,
fast travel
nice.
point.
Oh hell yeah, nice.
I love her. Look at her. She's so cute.
Oh, wait, what happened? Why is she? What? I
Like
wish things would go back.
the all of the destruction in the
Oh,
ocean.
the ocean. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is she talking about?
Um
You know, going back to like Frankenstein, something that I was thinking about, and I don't know if this is just like I don't know if that's just me being like not getting it,
mhm.
or whatever. But we mentioned how like a lot of the way that she describes the creation and like the whole of Frankenstein or the monster, the creature,
Mhm.
as like
Look at him. He has a
birth.
turtle.
Who has a turtle?
Look at I love him. He's a chef.
Oh, I love him. Love him.
Amazing. Sorry,
Oh,
but yes,
no.
the way that she describes the creation of the
Yeah, right.
creature.
Yeah, and so like akin to like birth, what I wonder if like it was her intention, because like obviously we don't know like her commentary, and it's like we only can guess and make connections to like her past and
Mhm.
like to what she might have meant. But like we also mentioned how like maybe it was that like she was like attaching this to like her experiences with like her miscarriages and things, or the like, her dad not being there, like, Victor being that kind of figure as
Hmm.
well. But like, I kind of wonder, I'm like, are you talking about yourself? Like, was this kind of like is it too much of a leap? Is it like just me just being like, oh, you're just pulling at fucking straws now, Like, is it too much of a leap to be like, oh, she was, it was more of a self, like,
Hmm.
reflection kind of thing of like, oh, like, this is who I am as a person kind of thing, where like I was
Yeah.
not worthy of these things, and like that kind of commentary on herself, or like other women. Like, was that
No, I think that's a very good point, right? I mean, like she struggled with conceiving a child, and so I think that there is a lot of like trauma in losing a child or like losing a pregnancy that like could make her feel like she's not good enough to be a caretaker or provider. Like I think that like that would honestly make a lot of sense.
mm,
Look at this woman. I love her.
and like, thinking about it, like not just her, but like, the whole like thing of like women being closer to God, and like,
Hmm.
that whole idea of like being God. I don't know. It's just like I guess like the very like thing that I'm like questioning is like, is that a commentary on herself or other women too? Right? Like,
Yeah.
was this just because like if we're gonna connect these things to like a more larger like idea, then it can't just be about her and her experiences, right? Like, are you also commenting on how you feel about other women and like those
Hmm.
experiences? That like, could it be said that like she doesn't believe that other people, like not just men, but other women aren't capable of, because like again, she did lose, like connecting it back to her, she did lose her mom and stuff, so she never had that like figure, and then the only other person that was like the only other like quote unquote mom that she had didn't really like her, based
Yeah.
on like what we read. So it's like, do you also not believe that like other women have like are capable of that kind of empathy to take care of what
Yeah.
they create?
Well, and I mean all like even just like the abandonment portion of it, right? Like she if her mother died in childbirth, like she probably
Hmm.
felt like she was abandoned from birth.
Yeah.
And so like I think it's entirely plausible to like look at the story of Frankenstein and the life of Mary Shelley and say, okay, yeah, like this is her interpretation of like the like I guess the happenings
Experiences like,
experiences of like women who either die in childbirth or like abandon their children, like and like personally, obviously, again, as I said, major feminist here, and I do have some bias, and I do think that like men ain't shit.
I think so.
um and so like that is how I read it, but I do like I think that like the your reading of it of we are like women are just as capable of creating those monsters like through abandonment as she likely felt from her mom. Like that
Hmm.
absolutely I think is a valid interpretation. Now,
Mm.
a ninth grade teacher may not agree. To be perfectly honest, I don't think a ninth grade teacher would agree with my interpretation. But nevertheless, we are correct in that that is our interpretation and we can back it up with fact. So, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Also, we
Um,
are no longer in ninth grade, so fuck our ninth grade teachers.
trying to remember who my ninth grade English teacher was.
Remember, dude.
I honestly can't remember, but
Yeah. No,
anyway, thank you guys for joining us for this ridiculous ranting discussion of literature, and Frankenstein and the education system, which is broken, as we all know.
Yeah,
And I will, probably do this again because it's something that I enjoy.
change the time of the game. It's too late.
It's too late. It's bedtime now. So,
bedtime now.
good
But
night,
we'll probably do
everyone.
this again.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining me. Yeah, it's like 9:30. Bye.
Bye.